Let's start with Serial Experiments Lane. This one is a 13-episode psychological thriller about a teenage girl who gets drawn into a virtual reality network called The Wired, basically the internet, but more terrifying. The show explores identity, consciousness, reality versus virtual existence, and whether the self can exist in digital space. It was asking questions about online identity in 1998 that we're still grappling with today, but here's why most people never saw it. It's aggressively weird. Slow pacing, minimal dialogue, surreal imagery, abstract storytelling. This wasn't an anime you could casually watch. You had to be paying attention, and even then, you might not understand what was happening. It got a limited release in America through Pioneer Entertainment. Some late-night anime blogs played it, but it never found a mainstream audience because it demanded too much from viewers. The people who did watch it became obsessed. Lane developed a cult following online. Early internet communities loved it because it was literally about internet culture becoming reality. It predicted social media, virtual identities, online personas, all of it. Today, Serial Experiments Lane is recognized as a masterpiece of psychological anime, but in 1998, most American anime fans had never even heard of it. If you want a show that makes you think and occasionally question reality, track this one down. Trigun is a space western about Vash the Stampede, a gunslinger with a $60 billion bounty on his head who refuses to kill anyone. The show mixes comedy, action, philosophy, and genuine emotional depth. Vash is goofy and chaotic on the surface, but the show gradually reveals his tragic past and the moral weight he carries. So why isn't Trigun more famous? It got unlucky with timing and marketing. It aired on Adult Swim in 2003, which should have made it huge. But it got buried in the schedule and didn't get the promotional push that Cowboy Bebop or Inuyasha received. It had a devoted fan base, but it never broke into mainstream consciousness. The other problem? It's hard to explain. Space Western with a pacifist gunslinger and philosophical themes about violence doesn't fit into an easy marketing box. Is it comedy, action, drama, all of the above? Trigun deserved to be as big as Cowboy Bebop. Both are space-set genre blends with incredible English dubs and mature themes. But Bebop got the right promotion at the right time. Trigun didn't. The fans who found it loved it. The soundtrack is incredible, the character design is iconic, and the final arc is genuinely heartbreaking. If you missed this one in the 90s and early 2000s, it's worth going back to. Golden Boy is a 6th episode about Kintaro, a 25-year-old freeder who dropped out of law school to study life by traveling Japan and taking odd jobs. It's a comedy. Kintaro is obsessed with women, bicycles, and learning. Every episode, he takes a new job, falls for a woman, gets into increasingly absurd situations, and somehow learns a valuable life lesson. The show is hilarious, ridiculous, and occasionally surprisingly sweet. It's also extremely 90s in its humor, which is part of why it never got mainstream distribution in America. The English dub, done by ADV Films, is actually fantastic. Doug Smith's performance as Kintaro is over the top in exactly the right way. But the show's content, heavy on fan service and perverted humor, meant it could never air on TV. It existed in that weird space of too adult for kids, too silly for Adult Swim's lineup. So it circulated among fans who knew about it, but never found a wider audience. People who've seen it quote it constantly. But most anime fans from the 90s missed it entirely because it was OVA only and never got a major release. It's dated in some ways, but it's still genuinely funny and weirdly charming. Before isekai anime became huge, there was Record of Lodoss War, a fantasy anime that was basically Dungeons & Dragons, the animation. It follows a group of adventurers, warrior, elf, dwarf, mage, priest, thief, on a quest to stop an ancient evil. It's classic high fantasy, beautifully animated with epic battles and political intrigue. The original OVA series from 1990 is 13 episodes of gorgeously animated fantasy adventure. It influenced an entire generation of fantasy anime and JRPGs. So why didn't it become huge in America? Timing and accessibility. It came out in 1990 in Japan. The American release was scattered. Different companies handled different parts. The dub took years, and by the time it was fully available in the US, the anime market had moved on. Also, high fantasy anime was a tough sell in America. Audiences wanted mechs or sci-fi or contemporary settings. Medieval swords and sorcery felt too niche. But Record of Lodoss War is beautiful. The animation holds up. The story is epic without being overly complicated. And if you love fantasy, this is essential viewing. It got a TV series sequel in 1998 that wasn't as good, but the original OVA is a masterclass in fantasy storytelling. The Slayers is a fantasy comedy about Lena Inverse, a teenage sorceress who blows things up, eats massive amounts of food, and accidentally becomes a hero. In Japan, The Slayers was massive. Multiple TV series, movies, OVAs, video games. Lena Inverse is an iconic character. The show was a phenomenon. In America, most people have never heard of it. It got a limited dub release through ADV Films and aired on a few regional networks, but it never broke through nationally. Part of the problem was that the humor is very Japanese. Lots of slapstick, exaggerated reactions, wordplay that doesn't translate well. The other issue, it's long. 5 TV series, multiple movies, OVAs. American distributors didn't know where to start or how to market that much content. But The Slayers is genuinely great. It's funny, action-packed and has real character development. Lena is a fantastic protagonist, greedy, powerful, insecure, heroic, all at once. If you want a comedy fantasy that doesn't take itself too seriously but still has heart, this is it. Outlaw Star is a space adventure about Gene Starwind and his crew traveling the galaxy in their advanced ship, getting into fights, treasure hunts, and gradually uncovering a conspiracy. It's fun, it's action-packed, it has great character design and a memorable soundtrack. It should have been huge, but it got destroyed by two things: Cowboy Bebop and timing. Outlaw Star came out the same year as Cowboy Bebop. Both are space adventures with episodic structures and jazz-influenced soundtracks. Critics and audiences compared them constantly, and Bebop won. Cowboy Bebop is a masterpiece. Outlaw Star is very good, but very good doesn't cut it when you're being directly compared to a masterpiece. The American release didn't help. It aired on Toonami, but got heavily edited for content. Guns were redrawn, dialogue was changed, entire episodes were skipped. Fans who wanted the real version had to track down fansubs or expensive DVDs. Outlaw Star deserved better. It's a genuinely entertaining show with likable characters and creative world building. It just had the bad luck to exist at the same time as something better. If you loved Cowboy Bebop and want something similar but lighter in tone, check this out. Bubblegum Crisis Tokyo. 2040 is a cyberpunk mecha anime about 4 women who use powered armor suits to fight rogue androids. It's a remake mobbish reimagining of the original Bubblegum Crisis OVAs from the 80s, with updated animation and a more coherent plot. The show is stylish, the character designs are great, the soundtrack by Akira Senju is excellent, and the themes about corporate corruption and identity are surprisingly mature. So why is it forgotten? Overcrowded market. By 1998, the anime market was flooded with cyberpunk shows. Ghost in the Shell had raised the bar for philosophical cyberpunk. Evangelion had redefined mecha anime. Bubblegum Crisis couldn't compete with either. It got an American release through ADV Films, but never found its audience. Fans of the original Bubblegum Crisis didn't like the changes. Fans of newer cyberpunk anime found it derivative. Bubblegum Crisis Tokyo 2040 is solid. It's not groundbreaking, but it's well made and entertaining. It just had the bad luck to come out when the genre was already oversaturated. Worth watching if you like cyberpunk or female-led action shows. The Irresponsible Captain Tyler is a space comedy about Justy Yuki Tyler, a man who joins the military to have an easy life, and accidentally becomes a war hero. The central question of the show is Tyler a genius tactician pretending to be an idiot, or is he an idiot who's incredibly lucky? The show never fully answers this, and that's what makes it brilliant. Tyler wins battles through apparent incompetence that somehow works out perfectly. He inspires loyalty despite doing almost nothing. He avoids danger through sheer luck or unknowing brilliance. It's funny, it's clever, and it has genuine character development underneath the comedy. So why didn't it catch on? It's too subtle for its own good. American audiences wanted clear heroes and villains. Tyler is ambiguous. The show requires you to pay attention to figure out what's really happening, and the comedy is dry. It's not slapstick or over the top. It got a limited release through Right Stuff. Fans who found it loved it, but it never reached mainstream awareness. If you like smart comedies that don't spell everything out for you, this is essential. El Hazard is an isekai anime before isekai became its own genre. A high school student named Makoto gets transported to a fantasy world called El Hazard. He has to navigate politics, war, ancient technology, and romance while trying to find a way home. It's well animated, the world building is creative, the characters are likable, and the dub, by Pioneer, is actually good. But El Hazard came out in 1995, before isekai became a dominant genre. Audiences didn't have a framework for normal guy in fantasy world stories yet. It felt like a weird hybrid of fantasy and sci-fi that didn't fit into established categories. The release was also fragmented. The original OVA series was 7 episodes. Then there was a TV series that retold the story differently, then sequels. American distributors released them out of order, confusing potential fans. El Hazard is charming. It's fun without being mindless. It has political intrigue without being boring. And it treats its female characters better than most 90s anime. If you want to see what isekai looked like before it became formulaic, check this out. Drop a comment and tell me, which of these have you actually seen? Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.